Hi, I'm Austin from Ghost Key, and you're watching HeartSupport. The hardest struggle for me, I think, is honestly like waking up. Like, the reason I say that it's hard to wake up is because I don't know on any given day how I'm gonna feel, and a lot of times the way I feel isn't where I want to be. You know, I'm not okay, and I don't think that's something that I'll ever get over, and I'm still there every day. But overall, the thing I struggle with the most is like being afraid that if I wake up tomorrow, I'm gonna wish I didn't. I mean, on a good day, it's great, and I don't even think about it. You know, I just get out of bed and go about my day. But like on a bad day, there are definitely days where I wake up and the first thing I think about is like, why should I feel this way? Or like, why do I deserve to live? What have I done for anybody? I mean, it's a lot of times it almost is just like the floodgates open. I mean, I think the number one thing that I ask myself a lot of times, like when I wake up and I guess I'm dealing with a bout of depression that day, is who do you think you are? Why do you think that you deserve more than anybody else? Why do you deserve to be alive? Why do you think that you are better than anybody else or deserve more than anybody else? I mean, a lot of times I just feel like I don't deserve a platform. Like, whether that's being in front of a camera or like being on stage, or at least I tell myself that other people have more important things to say or more important things to do than what I'm doing. By standing up on stage, I feel like I'm taking up space and I'm taking up somebody's time. I'm wasting their time. I mean, and that happens every night when we play a show. Like, I kind of question myself and I second guess myself, and I tell myself the things that I'm saying aren't worth anybody's time, and nobody needs to hear it. And that's why it's so hard, because I know in the back of my head that, I mean, that's ridiculous, because I've seen it firsthand when people come up to me and they talk to us like after we play, and it's not always just me, it's somebody in my band, but people tell me every night that they feel the same way I do. And so that just proves to me that it's, you know, it is worth my time and that it is important. But just because somebody reaffirms that doesn't always mean that I believe it in that moment. I mean, yeah, there's been a few times I can remember specifically where I didn't get up and I did just lay in bed and kind of just shut off. But on the days that I do get up, and sometimes those are the hardest days, number one is telling myself that I have to sit up, put my feet on the floor, and just take a breath. Sometimes it's not always easy, and sometimes that's all I need, is just to have my feet on the floor, to feel like there's something under me that I can set down on and get going. I mean, I think the number one thing, and maybe why it's so hard when I'm at home, is the best way that I communicate is like on stage, and being able to talk about everything. And a lot of times it sort of feels like I'm not being judged. That's not always the case, but a lot of times it feels like I can say whatever I want up there and at least somebody's listening. And so I think it's so much harder when I'm at home, because I don't have the same outlet. I don't have the same feeling. Best thing I can say to anybody that feels the way I do is to just reach out. A lot of times, like, a text message is the easiest thing for me to do. It feels a little cowardly sometimes because I don't have to stare at somebody in the face and I don't have to actually confront that, but just getting a response and saying, hey, like, you know, it's okay, or like, I understand what you're going through. Sometimes I'm a little bold, and like, we have the internet for a reason, and people always say like, oh, you know, don't share those things on Facebook or whatever, but like, there's been so many times where I've sat down and I've wrote a big long thing about how I'm feeling and had an overwhelming response from people, you know, both people I know and people I don't know, who are like, I'm going through the same thing, I really appreciate that you posted this, or just saying, hey, like, it's okay, and if you need more than this, like, I'm here. The fact that anybody reaches out at all is like the biggest thing for me, I guess, because it's nobody's responsibility to make sure that I'm okay, and so the fact that they are so willing to take care of me or make sure that I'm feeling better, or at least encourage me to feel better, is the biggest thing. I tell people that all the time, like after we play, and they say like, you know, I heard what you said, and I can't believe that somebody else feels that way, and like, it just makes me feel like I'm not alone. And I don't think that people realize a lot of the time when they tell me those things after we play, that as much as they say it's done so much for them, like in that moment, it's doing so much for me, because it's always a reminder that I'm not alone. And maybe that's a little selfish or like self-serving, but the fact that somebody reciprocates what I gave them is just like, it's honestly, it's like unbelievable, especially in like such a public setting, because they're sharing so much of themselves with me and they don't even know who I am. Sometimes it's a stranger, sometimes it's your best friend, but like there is somebody that's willing to listen. Like there's always somebody that's willing to listen. No matter how many times you tell yourself that nobody wants to hear it, because I tell myself that every day, there's somebody that's gonna listen to you. And maybe you gotta send 30 text messages and 20 phone calls, but eventually there will be somebody on the other end of that line that's willing to listen. And you are worth somebody's time. I'm worth somebody's time just as much as you are, and everybody deserves to know that. So 5 years ago when we started this band, I wanted nothing more than to give up, and I wanted nothing more to quit. But I had 4 people who told me that this mattered and that this was important, and I found my hope. So I don't know what it looks like for everyone else, but I know that being able to speak my mind, being able to say what I want and have people listen, changed my life forever. And so I think that if you go looking for what hope looks like, you'll find it. And I don't know if that means being in a band. I don't know if that means painting or art. It's not about anything like that. It's just about figuring out what makes you feel alive and holding on to it forever, because this is the most important thing to me in the world, and it's given me more life than anything I've ever had, and it's made me feel things I didn't know I could feel. I know what hope looks like for me. I just implore people to think about what that looks like for them, and just to find it and never let go of it.